Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Bridging Stars. I'm Yuga, your host. Today, we honorably invited Wang. He is the Executive Vice President, International and China President in AstraZeneca, one of the Tier 1 pharmaceutical companies. He is the first Chinese who holds the highest position in the global pharmaceutical industry so far. It is all about Leon and his legendary journey today, and I'm sure we'll learn tons from him. Let's welcome him.
Thank you.
Okay, so for our first question today, from working as a tour guide to becoming an executive vice president, your journey is very inspirational, and I'm interested in hearing the steps you took for success.
Yeah, I think the key is where you start, right? So if your starting point is only making money and feeding family, of course, then your your trip will be very short and also will be very tiring, right? Because there's a lot of pressure. But I think regardless of where you start as a tourist guide, and I actually major in English literature, right? So it's not pharmaceutical or no science background, right? So, but if you are really keen to help patients, right, this is your starting point, right? So actually, then nothing really stops you, and you have a big engine and a big ego and a big wish, right, ambition that you want to really rescue as many lives as possible. So I think nothing really bores you, and any frustration along the way become a good scenery. And I think I think the key is do you have that starting point? And I don't think it's really can be trained, right? So it's something that you have to listen to your heart, right? So whatever you do, whatever career path you take, right? So if you want to slave people, don't be their leader, right? So because your starting point is wrong, right? So if you want to help people, if you want to benefit people, if you want to train young people and make them very successful, so then you can become a leader, right? So everything relates back to your starting point.
Yep, thank you. So I understand that your first point and like your motivation is like very important. Like, what do you want to do? Like, you want to help people, or do you want just personal benefits? Because if you want to help the community or the people as a whole, then it will like benefit everyone in the long term, which is a very good.
You can never cheat yourself, right? So you have to listen to your heart and ask yourself all the time, right? So what's your real intention, right? So if you choose a good starting point, then you have a good end, right? So that's
Mhm.
very simple, right? So
Yep. Yep. So, for the second question, as an experienced learner, what are some tips you use on learning in areas that you are new to or unfamiliar with?
I think it's like a kung fu movie or kung fu novel, right? So basically, you needed to follow follow people, right? So you needed to see who is the greatest people in the whole industry. And sometimes if you want to learn somebody, you don't need to have a coffee or dinner or introduction, right? So if you follow somebody in the distance, watching whatever he say, remember whatever he write, and every speech, every PowerPoint slides, so you can remember that, right? So in the whole industry, so the greatest leadership is to follow the right leader.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, but the people really don't get it, right? So, and the greatest leadership is that you have people follow you. You have followership. Otherwise, you are manager, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think the key for learning the same. I think you don't need any formality, right? So it can be a coffee, it can be a dinner, it can be online virtual, it can be a public audience, right? Listening to somebody, right? And even remember the color of shirts when he speaks about something, right? So you remember every detail. So that is how you learn from people. So I think it's like you follow movie star, you can, or singers, you can sing every song and remember every word he said in a movie. So basically, if you want to do a great career, then you also need the same kind of attitude. So you follow somebody. So who is your movie star in your career? So that is very important. So you need I think at the end, people have limited time, especially people who are senior enough or who are a lot of knowledge. So these people usually have a scarce time to really spend with you, right? But you shouldn't be limited by the formality of how to learn. So sometimes can be reading a book, right? So sometimes can be listening to a story, and sometimes can be even watching a movie, right? And episodes, right? So TV episodes. So I usually watch history book, read a history book, and watch a history movie. And usually I watch 5 to 10 times. So it's not limiting because you are learning from Napoleon, right? You're learning from great leaders in the history, right? So maybe they're dead already, right? So it's fine. So you can learn from already died people, right? So because the knowledge in the history is so rich, right? So that's also another treasury, right? So I think sometimes people don't pretend that you have to read a book, you have to book a dinner, right? So I think people are sometimes too limiting. So I think if you're really interested, any format works.
Yep, I totally agree with that. And for our third question, how do you handle an excessive amount of criticism targeted to you?
I think you as a leader, you need really to have a strong heart, right? Otherwise, don't be leader. So if you are screaming together with other people, you'd better be follower rather than leader, right? So I think as a leader, you should be very open to any kind of criticism, right? So one day somebody can tell you, Liang, you know what? I think you're nuts, right? So it's fine. So then you really every elevator I went into in the company, I talked to everyone in the elevator, right? So I have a WeChat or WhatsApp address with every elevator audience, and I said I'm really keen to listen to you, bad and good. So if you have any suggestion, if you guys see me doing anything wrong, so if you don't have even the heart to listen to criticism, to negative things, or only like to listen to music, so then you will fail, right? You will fail because you need people, you need to hear. But of course, as a strong leader, you also have your own opinion, right? So listening, getting information, getting inputs is really to form your strong opinion and decision, right? So it's not like you listen to everyone. At the end, you cannot decide, right? So I see some people really warm and greeting everyone and listening to them, but at the end, he doesn't know what to do, right? So this is also not a great leadership, right? So I think you should be open and kind, but at the end, you should still decide and do what you should do.
From working as a tour guide to becoming an executive vice president, your journey is very inspirational, and I'm interested in hearing the steps you took for success.
I think the key is where you start, right? So if your starting point is only making money and feeding family, of course, then your trip will be very short and also will be very tiring, right? Because there's a lot of pressure. But I think regardless of where you start as a tourist guide, and I actually major in English literature, right? So it's not pharmaceutical or no science background, right? So, but if you are really keen to help patients, right, this is your starting point, right? So actually, then nothing really stops you, and you have a big engine and a big ego and a bigger wish, right, ambition that you want to really rescue as many lives as possible. So I think nothing really bores you, and any frustration along the way become a good scenery. And I think the key is do you have that starting point? And I don't think it's really can be trained, right? So it's something that you have to listen to your heart, right?